So let's talk about something that is more interesting, which is the Womxn thing. March is Women's History Month. Join us in celebrating and supporting all the Womxn, creating their own worlds, building communities, and leading the way on Twitch. Read more. It's so stupid. Before I just like start making fun of this, and I briefly talked about it already. Don't do this. Okay, this is no one. Like, there's like 8 people that think this is like the right thing to do. Okay, trans women are women, so trying to like include trans women by adding like an X to men is unironically otherizing trans women and making it seem like they are not women but something different. It's clownish. Everyone thinks you look like a fool, and I find it so odd that like a lot of these corporations will go and hire like the same people or something that make it seem as though this is something that the majority of these marginalized communities want, when it's not. Most trans people aren't like, oh wow, I really feel like my oppression and struggle has been eliminated by adding an X to the fucking the women, a term that I want to be associated with if I am a trans woman, by adding a fucking X. All of a sudden now I feel as though transphobia has been combated. And originally, and this is like kind of an edgelord take of mine, but I originally always assumed that this was actually a way to take men out of the like the women. Like for some women who did not want to be associated with men at all, I thought that's the real reason why they originally put an X there. You know what I mean? Like, we are different. We don't have to be dependent on men. And I don't know if that was like an edgelord take or not, but I always originally assumed that was how it started. It also kind of makes sense because it's some fucking hyper rad femme shit. It's super lib and it's super ridiculous. I think it's supposed to be contrast with the TERFs who use women. Oh, yeah. Where they put a Y, right? Sometimes.
In communities, supporting each other.
There are so many beautiful, vibrant, talented, incredible women content creators on Twitch.
Women creators are shaping this industry in such a beautiful way simply by being themselves.
I celebrate women on Twitch every day by being the representation that I seek.
I decided to start streaming shortly after I came out publicly. To me, the biggest reason was that I wanted to create the representation that I never really saw out there growing up.
I have this little corner of the internet.
Hey, to all the trans boys, girls, and also the NBs, 2021 is shaping up to be the best year of your lives. I mean, Oreo Cookies comes out and says, you know, trans people are valid. Mr. Potato Head is no longer Mr. Oh, fuck, I just dead named Potato. I dead named Potato Head. I apologize. Potato Head is now non-binary. And now, you know, they're saying Womxn. This is it's shaping up to be the best year of trans people's lives, I think. I mean, 2021, what else is in store? Meanwhile, on the other side, Republicans literally are like, the most important issue is making sure that trans women that want to play sports get punished by law and get thrown into jail. Literally, on the other hand, like, liberals are like, yeah, Oreo, trans people are valid. Meanwhile, like, fucking conservatives are, like, Donald Trump is talking about, like, trans girls playing fucking high school sports, and, like, the hogs are, like, salivating, like, what did they say? Oh, Oreo actually just said trans people exist. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. I wonder if the women in this video knew Twitch was going to use Womxn instead of just woman. I don't know.
I want to show that I can do it so other people can also feel like they can do it.
Women creators are needed in this industry so that the next generation never...
The hilarity of this is that I agree with literally every point that they put forward, but I can't even hear it because the only thing I'm seeing is Womxn on my fucking screen, dude. And I'm a woke person, okay? I'm like more woke than the average person, right? Like I care about these sorts of things. And even I can't fucking look away. I'm like, what the fuck? I love the juxtaposition of the Amazon anti-union ads and then the Womxn month ads by Twitch, which is owned by Amazon. Next thing you know, you'll have a bunch of Womxn union busters at Amazon. I mean, at least they fucking moved on very quickly from that and took it off their airwaves. But Liv had a good take about this, doing actually more harm than good. Please God, just spell the word normally. The only thing this does, one, make most trans women feel othered and allow TERFs to be like, SJWs are going too far. Once again, this is why we need to take rights away from trans people. Most of the time I see large companies try to be trans inclusive. They do it in a way that will generate the most outrage, controversy to get the company the most attention. The companies are painted as simply pro-trans when in reality they're doing what they're doing doesn't help us at all. Same goes for that Oreo tweet and the genderless potato stuff. Ridiculous things no trans person was asking for. You're right. I'm sorry. sorry, you're wrong, Sweaty. Have you considered that it's actually good for trans people? What would you know? You're wrong, okay? Sorry, Sweaty, you're canceled. It's gonna other trans women and make MB people feel weird to be lumped in with women. Yeah, it's just like, it's such a fucking odd thing, okay? It's such a weird thing to do. And it comes from partially wanting to be more inclusive, okay, and coming out and making a statement and wanting to be as like representative as possible, right? But the people that you're going to get these like the people that you're going to get this point of view from is literally just they're oblivious. Like, they're ridiculous. Same goes for the Oreo tweet and genderless potato head stuff. Ridiculous things no trans person was asking for that will get mentioned as a punchline at CPAC. Generate a discussion about trans people's humanity we have no control over, and get the company some extra adverts. As a trans person, I sometimes feel unsafe in game or online spaces. I'm so glad that now Twitch on Amazon decided to use a language that makes us sound like crazy people who want everyone to change their vocabulary. I've already gotten hundreds of whispers of people sending me trans flags, and now all gamers promise to stop calling me slurs. One of the people in the vid tweeted afterwards, "Hey folks, just a quick message. I see some of you have found me on this little part of the internet. I did not know that Womxn was a bad term. I will not be using it in any of my syntax moving forward, nor have I ever used it. Women are women are women." Yeah, it's a swing and a miss. Okay, it's a company trying to be as like nice as they possibly can and be as inclusive as they can. So is the X the turfy term or the woke one? I'm lost. I mean, it's just like, it's not fucking woke. It's just like when you're trying to be mega woke and you swing and a miss. Okay, you swing and you fucking miss. That's it. Because again, trans people want to feel included. They want to feel valid. They do not want to be otherized as trans women. If they're trans women, they want to be trans women. Women in the end. They don't want to be Womxn and again otherized in a way that makes them feel as though they are different. I can't wait for some like super mega woke NB person to like destroy me now, by the way, for saying this, because it is actually more inclusive or something and I didn't know, and tell me that I'm a true scum or something. I can't wait for that if that's actually going to happen. A-Mixin and A-Womxn. Isn't the term Hispanic basically a slur? What? What the fuck? That was a fucking awesome take. So apparently Womxn is used to include trans women. I'd imagine trans women would like to just be called woman, but okay, when being so woke you turn anti-woke. LMAO, Twitch in a nutshell. Yo, the hilarity here is that this fucking person, this hog squeezer disposable has a better take on this issue than fucking Twitch. Edit, if you also think that companies, especially Twitch, gives a single fuck about minority groups like trans people, they do not. It was probably transphobic. They would be a heartbeat, so don't ever care for a company, especially one that's fake folks, which love talking about the talk and reap the rewards of being so woke from dumbasses on Twitter with blue check marks to do everything besides enacting actual change. Blind playthrough, by the way. Omega lol. Holy shit. What is happening on LSF, dude? Some of these posts are pretty good, and then it's just like mind-boggling to me that like one post will have like really solid takes, and then the next fucking post will be like infected with some of the most idiotic, psychopathic takes I've ever seen in my entire life. Okay, FaZe Lennon. Okay, I know where these people are coming from. FaZe Lennon. Probably not a fucking, you know, like TSM fan or something. Someone asked your take on neopronouns? No, we are not having that conversation. That's my take. Stop. Can confirm. Mexican think anyone that uses Latinx or unironically dumb just use Latino or Latina. Stop being weird. Latinx in the real world doesn't have a pronunciation. Latinx, my friend. We're not gonna have the Latinx conversation again as well. I've fucking talked about it a gorillion times, so I'm not gonna do that again. Latinx, okay, and that's it. That's yeah, this is dumb, and they are trying to. They wanted to be like inclusive. They went and probably worked with someone who is like super woke, and that super duper woke person ended up giving them some information that they worked on or acted on that was kind of silly. And I think most people immediately dunking on this as like content creators in the leftist space, you know, trans content creators on Twitch, women in general shitting on this is probably pretty clear that like it's not like this was directed in that way. It wasn't directed by the people that were featured in the ad, or you know, there's like a legitimate leftist position to this. Actually, Womxn is the proper term because it removes man from the word. You, a cis white straight male, would never understand this. You regularly tout your privilege and shove it in our face while shitting on the term Womxn because you feel like it. I always knew you were an asshole, but this is a new low, and you can bet that I'll be making a TikTok about how bigoted you are, Sweaty. That's not a real person. There's like one there's like a one Tumblr Andy. I think all the Tumblr Andys that would say shit like that unironically have been purged from the community after this last week, if we're being real. Like, good bait overall, but I don't believe it. I assume this is an opportunity for a lot of like transphobic people to immediately go back to the same conversations that we were having earlier about like trans women in sports and shit like that. Or use this as an opportunity to be like, trans women want like these crazy things. I mean, what the fuck? Blah, blah, blah. Meh. So, Marcus Flowers, ladies and gentlemen, is an Air Force veteran, and he is officially running in Congress against Marjorie Taylor Greene. He spent his entire career defending the United States, and he promised to bring honor, integrity, and decency to Congress. Let's check out the launch video and see how this will be different.
I'm Marcus Flowers, and I've spent my life serving this country in combat zones across the world. But I never thought I'd see one here in the United States.
Bro, why are they doing this? Like, I just don't understand why they're doing this. There is, what the fuck? Like,
Q is a patriot. We know that for sure.
That's Marjorie Taylor Greene's America.
Marjorie Taylor Greene expressed support for executing Democratic members of Congress.
the irony is like, is this supposed to be an attack ad or a promo for why Georgians should vote extra hard for Marjorie Taylor Greene? Because like what you're failing to recognize is the Democrats in the region are going to vote for you because you're not Marjorie Taylor Greene. And the Republicans are definitely voting for Marjorie Taylor Greene because of this shit. Okay. So you running this ad looks like literally you trying to hype up your opposition.
My first overseas deployment was at an intelligence listening post in Central Europe on the doorstep of communism. I spent a decade in combat zones in Iraq and Afghanistan as a contractor for the Department of Defense and held top secret security clearance. I witnessed firsthand the damage done by extremism, radicalism, and disinformation. And I won't stand by while people in Washington take us down the same path.
Felix has already fucking talked about this, and sorry, this is going to offend some of the veterans in my community right now, but let me tell you something, okay? Americans, no matter how much they fucking act like they care about the military, intrinsically recognize that that we're losers, okay? We are all in this together, okay? American imperialism is a losing fucking project, and nobody gives a fuck about veterans and their veteran status, okay? That's the reality. If we did, we'd give veterans better health care and give everyone health care and make sure that there aren't so many fucking people riddled with PTSD in order to get like upward social mobility or a chance at upward social mobility. Like, this shit doesn't work, okay? No one cares. No one cares. You would be better off if you were just like a football celebrity or something and you threw football very fast. Your bona fides of like working at a fucking forward operating base or like working in a working in a high intelligence position against communism is not something that people are like, oh, this is sick. Okay, either run on fucking issues, or if you're gonna do culture war shit, this is a failing culture war point of view. Okay, nobody fucking gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit what your fucking service looks like anymore. And they certainly don't give a shit when you are coming at it from a Democratic point of view. Because no matter what happens, Donald Trump, more patriotic than John McCain. Okay, it doesn't matter that John McCain literally was a fucking prisoner of war by the Viet Cong. Okay, by the North Vietnamese. Ho Chi Minh could have personally spanked John McCain's ass, and it wouldn't fucking matter to Americans. Donald Trump is more patriotic because Donald Trump is more racist. Okay, Republicans, conservatives own patriotism. They own it because they have turned it into understandable, digestible, reactionary politics. So when you try to beef up the patriotism, it doesn't fucking matter. If you're trying to do it as a Democrat, it is a foolhardy endeavor that has never paid off. Okay, like think about it this way: George W. Bush was considered to be more patriotic than John Kerry. You know why they made fun of John Kerry? Fucking a Vietnam veteran. You want to know why? Because he windsurfed, and that's gay, okay? That's how he lost. Do you understand? That is conservatism and how Americans operate. They were like, yeah, right, military veteran, my ass, he's gay, he's windsurfing. That's it. That's it. Republicans literally, as someone also pointed out in the chat, Republicans dunk on other Republicans for not out-patrioting one another when they themselves, like, people shit on fucking Dan Crenshaw. People shit on Dan Crenshaw because, you know, he sometimes stands in opposition to Donald Trump from time to time, so he's like not a real patriot. He's fake, brother. All these fucking reactionaries hate Dan Crenshaw because he was for, you know, red flag laws. Yeah. Fellas, is it gay to windsurf? I mean, after all, that bodysuit's wrapped up all around your entire tushy, covering it so perfectly. You know, sometimes it gets caught up in your anus, too. A noose. Republican, we will never have European-style healthcare. Democrat, I literally went to Europe to kill communists. Yeah, I hate them. I was stationed in Germany, the doorstep of communism. The Berlin Wall, I blew it myself, brother. People looked at Georgia, okay? They looked at the Senate race in Georgia. They saw that there was an actual radical black pastor that has said some really fucking radical shit. Things that I would like to hear more from our candidates. I wouldn't say that he's actually radical, and he's not going to be a radical in the way that he legislates. Don't get me wrong. But, Reverend Raphael Warnock is associated with MLK's church and is associated with some other black pastors. And some black pastors are very fucking based in this country, okay? And he won by a better margin than the more centrist candidate who was adopting a more progressive policy position for the most part. And they're still like, no, we got to go more conservative. This Georgia district, it needs to be more conservative. We need to have someone who kills commies. Hire a guy who's not famous for doing Ford commercials one time, please. Democrats, stop hiring the same fucking ad company for every failed campaign challenge. The people making these ads don't care if they lose. I mean, why would they? Why would you care if you lose if the Democratic machine keeps going and they will pay you an insane amount of money because you're going to get a lot of retweets on Twitter? Well, this one didn't even do that, I don't think. Oh, it did. Oh, never mind. Conservatism, his surname is Flowers. That's gay. No, that's literally why it's Marcus for Georgia and not Flowers for Georgia. You understand that, right? There is a very specific reason why his campaign is not called Flowers for Georgia, but instead Marcus for Georgia, because fellas, it's gay to like flowers, right? Or be mentioned with flowers, right? Fellas,